I just bought another 100 shares of HIMS stock, and I'm going to tell you why I did it. Every week, I'm going to sell one covered call to generate premium or income. You might be saying, well, if you already own HIMS stock, why did you have to buy another 100 shares? This is why. I first bought HIMS stock in October of 2024. And yes, I did buy 100 shares, so I could, in theory, sell covered calls on that position. The concern that I have in doing this is if you're wrong about your covered call and your shares get called away, you lose your shares. Now, I have a profit of 179% on that position. I don't want to lose those shares, and I don't want to pay taxes. By the way, you're not locked in here. If the stock skyrockets before expiration and you go, oh no, I'm going to lose my shares, you can just buy back the options contract and exit the position. The problem with this is you might take a loss on that options contract and you might not want to do that. Over the course of 2025, I bought more shares in HIMS. It added up to another 100 shares, but I have a pretty large profit in that position as well. And I don't want to lose those shares either. So I bought another 100 shares. And now this position can get called away anytime it wants. I'm not going to feel bad about it. And if I lose the shares, I'll just repurchase them later and continue selling covered calls weekly. That's the method that I like. So let's take a look. Now I'm editing this video to add this part in later because I realized I forgot this. But let's say you are like me and you have several hundred shares of a company. How do you designate which particular shares you want to sell in the event that your options contract does get called away, your shares do get called away? The preset method is something called FIFO, first in, first out. Well, I don't want that because my first in was the position that I bought 2 years ago that is up 180%. I don't want to sell those shares. So I have to go in. Now, it used to be on TD Ameritrade that you could change, if the shares were called away, the next day you could go in and you could say, I want to change the lot to this particular position. But you can't do that on Charles Schwab, which means you have to do it ahead of time. And I'm going to show you how to do it. But you're just going to be changing your tax ID or your default lot selection method from, say, first in, first out to last in, first out. That means if my shares get called away, it will automatically sell the shares that I just most recently purchased. So if you are on your Charles Schwab account, all you have to do is hit profile right here, and then you will see cost basis method. Click that. Now you can see here that this is the default lot selection method and it is set to first in, first out. I don't want that. I want this. So I'm going to click here and save it. And now you can see that the change has been made and it just has to be approved, and it says it can take 1 business day. Here's the options chain for HIMS. And since I don't care about this particular position, I'm going one price out. So you can see that it's $56 currently. I pick the ones that expire on, I guess it's going to be Friday the 13th, and I go one price out. So it's 56, I go to 57. And this is how much I'm going to make. I'm going to make $170 this week from selling this covered call. Now, if the stock closes at $57.01 or even $57 even, my shares are gone, but I keep this $176. However, if the stock is $56.99 or anywhere below 57, I keep that premium and I keep my shares. Here's just an example. I bought the position, the most recent one, at $55.50. I sold a call for $57. So from $55.50 to $57, if my shares get called away, I net that profit, that difference from $55.50 to $57, but I don't benefit on anything higher than that. So if the stock magically is $59 on Friday, my shares are sold at $57. That's the arrangement that we're making on this covered call strategy. One of the downsides with covered calls is you can make money, but your upside is capped, right? So if it is $59, I lose my shares at 57. But I'm betting in the short term that this stock isn't going to go beyond that $57 price target this week, and next week I'll adjust it. If it's $57 next week, then I'll pick $58. And I'll keep doing this every single week. So this strategy could, and remember, when the volatility drops, this stock is currently very volatile, which is why those options premiums are so high. When that volatility cools off, the strategy might not work anymore. Or the options premium might be $50 a week instead of $170. But in the meantime, as long as it remains volatile, I could pull in $600 or $700 per month